This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
'Tis the season to cozy up with all your favorite holiday movies and shows.
You coming?
Where?
To the North Pole, of course.
Like a very Jonas Christmas movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Should I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then snuggle up with the Polar Express and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Hulu on Disney+.
I think we're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
This season, there's something for everyone with Hulu on Disney+. Bundle subscription required. Terms apply. Visit disneyplus.com/Hulu for details.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Sunday evening via Zencastr is my friend Michael Leboff. And Mike, we're both, our voices are a little bit worse for wear. We had a fun time at Saturday's game against the Lightning. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. But first, I want to ask a question that didn't occur to me until I left that game. When was the last time the Islanders won 2 shootouts in the same week with the winner scored by the same guy? I'm going to guess it was something like 2000 and never. Like, I don't remember when that.
Like, I mean, maybe sometime with Franz? Like,
maybe?
And the guy the funny thing is the guy who's doing it now is wearing 51.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe like in like March of like the 2010 or 2011 season when the season was already over and they'd win some shootouts because Franz was automatic in that era because he would do that. You know, the Danish backhanded judgment and people would show up and be like, who is that guy? What's a Franz Nielsen? I'm like, well, this guy's really good. So
it's something about the number 51 that makes you good at shootouts, I guess. Because Emil Heineman is the new guy. He's not Franz Nielsen, let's put it that way. But
Franz also had that, when the book got out on him, he started to surprise goalies with what Heineman's doing. Just the straight line down the middle, then shoot. As the goalie's like going on his, I feel like Henrik Lundqvist, he got Henrik Lundqvist a couple times, but I mean it's been a charmed couple of weeks, the season. I mean, I made this decision before going into the Lightning game. I was walking with my brother, and he was kind of echoing the same sentiment as we were walking to UBS Arena, and which was that I needed to just go into that game thinking, no matter what happens, like, I'm happy with where the Islanders are, and I just need to start focusing on that more than the peripheral stuff, because this season has been nothing short of enjoyable. Like, it's just been an enjoyable time. This team is fun. They're likable. Nobody's got their cell phone out during play. They're not yet, at least, blowing third period leads late. Like that game last night on Saturday when the Lightning are pushing. Not only the Islanders lose that game, but they probably lose it in regulation.
Yeah.
You know, the Lightning scored 2 goals within like the last 4 minutes, and we've been asking for so long for this team to, or for season after season, for this team to nip those bad habits in the bud, and by and large they have this season. Wouldn't say yesterday's game was the prettiest, but they won it and they got the 2 points. And if you looked at the standings when you were walking out of UBS Arena, which we both did, the Islanders were in first place in the Eastern Conference for about 8 minutes. And yeah, I mean it's hard as Islander fans, and I think part of it is part of why I wanted to focus on that was I had a very Long Island week, reminding me of why I'm an Islander fan to begin with. I was with my whole host of my family at the game on Saturday when we went out to Platt Deutsch for dinner afterwards, and Franklin Square. And the night before, I was with Emily and Isla and Emmy at the Jones Beach Festival of Lights, like driving through that. Yeah. So and then I told you this story that that same night we got pizza from a place that's been there forever in Oceanside, and as the guy who was about to hand me my box of slices, he lifted up the box and says, I think an extra cheese slice fell off the back of a truck, and then he handed me the box and we said Merry Christmas, and I walked out. And that's those Long Island things are what makes the Islanders special, and why I really have been attached to this team as hard as I've been. And and for this team to be representing them and the island and the Islanders fan base as this well, I do feel like I've let myself down a little bit by not enjoying this ride to the utmost.
Yeah.
So I'm just ready to enjoy it, and I think last night I just had a huge smile on my face all night, and a lot of it was because of the Islanders, which is when the Islanders deliver a smile, man, it's you got to just grab on and try to hold on to that smile as long as you can.
Definitely. I didn't even realize that they would be in first place if they won that game. So like when they won, and your brother was the one who was like, they're in first place. I was like, really? They were? And you're right. They were in first place until the Hurricanes game ended later that evening. But the Capitals lost. I think they were playing Winnipeg. So thank you to the Winnipeg Jets for beating the Washington Capitals to keep the Islanders in second place, which is where they are right now as we speak. And if I told you that on December 14th, the Islanders would be in second place in the Eastern Conference and in the Metro, I think we would sign up for it. And like you said, Saturday's game wasn't the prettiest. Frankly, Monday's game wasn't the prettiest either against the Golden Knights. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this team has really brought back a sense of pride that goes hand in hand with these enjoyable seasons. We've talked about 18-19 when Barry Trotz retaught the Islanders how to have pride in the island and make the island a thing. And not that these guys weren't playing with pride in the previous sort of less enjoyable seasons, but this year in particular, it seems like everybody's really taken this whole Islanders thing to heart. And even just a little while ago, Matthew Schaefer posted something on his Instagram. I guess it was like friends and family skate or something at UBS Arena, and he just posted, "I love this place, LGI, let's go Islanders." And so that kind of stuff, really means a lot. And this team is really kind of, again, they've bonded with each other. It took a while. I feel like Patrick Waugh has finally kind of bonded there with them, and it has been a fun season so far. I mean, at least through the first 33 games, it's been a lot of fun. And again, Saturday's game was a bit of a roller coaster, but at the end, it was enjoyable, and they ended up in first place. You really can't complain too much.
Yeah, and like the reason that they won that game on Saturday night is the reason that I think it's okay for us to just like throw off the shackles and just go full blown belief is because of the goaltending.
Yes.
And Ilya Sorokin has just he looks exactly like that goalie from that Penguin series in 2021, that Game 5 game, when you're like, the only way you score on him is with a perfect shot or a deflection or a bounce, because everything else is going to hit him square. And I saw, Will Stevens, and I saw Mark and a bunch of other folks. We ran into Adam and a lot of listeners on Saturday, and Mark made a great point, which is like, this team has gone from we don't know what to expect, there's no expectations, to they were bad through the first 3 games, and they were kind of fun bad, where they were winning games but still had a lot of work to do. And then they were like, and then he's like, then they became the next iteration, or he says they're in the next iteration, whatever. This team might be good, and then the next iteration from that is they're a tough out, and we were deciding if they're going to be they're going to be a tough out phase yet. And I actually think that they might even be beyond that. We might be a step behind the team right now in with those labels, because you can just feel it you can feel it sometimes. Like I have that familiar feeling from those years you talked about, and I think I've been afraid to even admit it out loud because of my superstitions with the hockey gods, and I'll get into those gods in the Vegas game and then again in the Ducks game. But those seasons I wasn't really afraid to admit it. The other shoe to drop kind of thing, because even when the other shoe has dropped here, the Islanders have been able to just power through it. And yeah, I think these guys they deserve, and like the listeners, like the people who tune into this podcast week after week, deserve the unbridled enthusiasm that a 19-11-3 team in a season that was predicted the way it was for this team, and with what the future also looks like. Right. Bear in mind, we were told you better not even care about this season, right? It's not even about this one. And I think that's also clouded how we've perceived this whole thing, because when you're told that all off season, it's hard to like get rid of that prior bias of, I was told by all the experts that the Islanders they were going to be a team in the mushy middle. So you throwing that bias off too, like there's nothing wrong with just going full bore here, because they're 19-11-3. They're second in the Metro. They look like a real threat. They beat the Lightning 3 times.
Yes.
They beat against the Lightning, Stars, and Avalanche. They've won 5 of 7 and something like that. Whatever, 5 of 6.
Right. And they had a little luck along the way too.
Yeah, of course.
What happens. That's okay.
But even you wouldn't. I was thinking about this too. Like, they finally have caught some breaks, but in previous years, the Islanders when they would catch a bounce, it wouldn't even matter. You'd be like, oh God, they just wasted a good bounce because they're getting shut out by Alex Lyon anyways, even though they just got a 5-on-3, 2-minute 5-on-3. This season, they're getting some luck and taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with just going in with 2 feet now. I feel like we're 33 games into this thing. So here I go.
I wonder if taking advantage is sort of the theme of the season for them, because, we could sit here and be like, Schaefer has changed everything. Matthew Schaefer,
yes.
His presence, his enthusiasm, his electricity, his skill, obviously has changed everything for this team. But it feels like the guys that were here already are, in a sense, sort of taking advantage of him being here. Right.
Yeah,
like they don't want to waste this and be like, oh yeah, let the kid do whatever he wants. Like, they want to feed off of that and make that, a reason for doing certain things and trying certain things and, trying to score, for example, where before it was always seemed like such a hard thing. And I feel like that also works with Ilya Sorokin, who you're just talking about. Like, it feels like the guy's out here standing on his head a lot, and they, they don't want to let that go to waste. Like, they want to take advantage of that and not like let these superhuman feats go unrewarded. So it feels like there's a lot of that. Maybe there's something to the fact that Anders Lee and JG Pageau are both UFAs at the end of the season, something like that along those lines. And there's some guys here that, are new, or, they want to kind of get that breakout. Cal Ritchie is here now and looking better and better every game. So I think there's a lot of advantage taking happening in a good way.
I think that's a great way to put it, actually. Like a really, really good way to put it, because you can literally go down the list like you were to even a guy like Anthony Duclair, who like, dude, you certainly aren't producing the way that I think people thought, but he's been good, and he's got this like kind of new role, this new gray area role where he's bouncing between the second and third line, providing some skill on to whatever line needs a little bit of skill, and he made a great play against the Lightning, and he's taking advantage of, I'm locked up, like I'm not playing for a contract, so I don't have to be fretting that I'm not getting first line minutes, I'm not getting top billing on the power play minutes. I can just go to bed at night knowing I'm going to be an Islander tomorrow, and I can play play a simpler game, play a simpler role, and embrace that because I am secure for the first time in his career. So I think that's a really good way to look at it, and I think it's something we've almost been clamoring for them to do without finding those exact words, which sounds so simple off the top of your head, right? Take advantage of this,
right?
Like we were like when it was clear that it was the last ride for Clutterbuck and Bailey and all those guys. We're like, go all in, push your chips to the middle because these guys are leaving. This is your last chance before they maybe have to tear it down. And when Sorokin was standing on his head, that he had that great year 3 years ago, and they didn't make the playoffs, and we were saying the same kind of stuff. Like you're getting the goaltending, take advantage of it, and now they finally are. So it's and going to like the low expectations. Yeah, take advantage of playing with house money. So that's I think for the first time in seasons, the Islanders are taking advantage of what's being given to them.
Right.
Which is a thing that I think even as an Islander, as a fan base, we don't even do, because we're like, wait, you're handing me these good bounces? What's waiting for me on the other side of this?
Right.
I know how this works with this team.
Waiting for that other shoe to drop, like
I'm gonna start poking the ceiling and waiting for the asbestos to fall out, right? Like I'm just I think it's once again a rewiring has been necessary, but now I'm fully rewired. I'm full blown in optimism here, and I can't wait to see what that is gonna do for my life. I'm for the next whatever. 70 not 70 40 something games,
50, whatever it is, 49 games, I guess. But we're going to talk about the stuff they got coming up, so maybe that rewiring won't stick, but we'll talk about those games coming up. We're going to talk about the 3 games that happened this week, and then we're going to talk about the 2 trades that happened in the NHL this week that kind of maybe sort of affect around the Islanders, I guess, a little bit, maybe one more so than the other, but we'll get to them. It's nice when something is sort of laid out for us. But before all that, reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. I'm going to save my voice. You guys all know the spiel, but we do have our monthly mailbag coming up tomorrow. We're going to record. So if you want to send us a question, sign up for the Country Club tier and ask us a question when the post goes up at 10 a.m. And we'll read it on our monthly mailbag episode. The only questions there will get answered. And, we always have a good time doing those. So patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Okay. Let's we want to focus on the Tampa Bay game, but let's go through the other 2 games very quickly. So Tuesday night was a 5-4 win over Vegas in the shootout. The Islanders had great jump early, started taking penalties. All of a sudden, Noah Hannafin pots a Jack Eichel rebound, makes it 1-0 Vegas. And then another rebound goes right to Mitch Marner, 2-0 Vegas, like literally in the blink of an eye. Before the end of the period, Schaefer to Ryan Pulock to Bo Horvat, one-timer, makes it 2-1. Good beginning, good ending, kind of bad middle for the Islanders. Second period, Cizikas finds Marc Gatcomb in front. Nice redirect, ties the game at 2. Welcome back, Marc Gatcomb. Please never leave us again. Don't send this guy back to Bridgeport. Please, seriously, just keep him where he is because he's very good. And then Cal Ritchie hits Holmstrom in stride. He wires in a goal, makes it 3-2 Islanders, his first goal in however long it was. Sorokin was making huge saves in that period. Third period, Ivan the Barber Barbashev is falling down, kind of sweeps the puck in. Schaefer's diving to try and stop it, but it goes in. Kind of a fluky, weird goal, but kind of cool also. Ties the game at 3. And then Bo Horvat from the slot on the power play makes it 4-3 Islanders. Their power play is working all of a sudden again, which is kind of nice to see. And then all of a sudden, a whole lot of stupid happens. Adam Pelech, puck goes over the glass. They kill that off, but with 12 seconds left, Pavel Dorofeev at the side of the net ties the game at 4. He just got loose, I guess. It's kind of irritating. Then Kyle McLean takes a high sticking penalty with 3 seconds left. I mean, come on. They kill that off in overtime. There's not a ton going on that overtime period. It's kind of tight, but everybody stopped in the shootout except for, again, Emil Heineman takes the winner. Sorokin was terrific. He made 32 saves in that game. Overall, I thought it was a good comeback win, a fun win, makes you happy, but I'm never going to be cool with blowing leads, particularly 2 third-period leads, and especially one with 12 seconds left. I mean, come on. Well, I thought we were past this kind of thing, but they did go for 4 for 4 on the PK and 1 for 2 on the power play. So overall, a good game with a couple of irritating elements. What did you think of this one? Beating Vegas is fun. Like, I don't know why they only play them twice a year, but they seem to have a good record against them, and it's always a fun game because I don't know, they're such a high profile team that it's fun that the Islanders always get up to play them, which is sort of weird because I mean it's Vegas. Why? But they do.
Yeah, it is just one of those strange things. I wonder if the like Vegas fans talk about us the way we talk about the Predators or the Wild. Yeah, I thought that. So this game, my 2, I think you did a pretty good summary there, and as you said, like we're both a little under the weather here, so I'll try my best to right. Keep it, pay homage to Shakespeare and keep it brief. But the 2 main takeaways were, Marc Gatcomb. This guy is tailor-made to be an Islanders 4th line winger. Just seriously. Tailor-made. I don't, when we've talked about the 4th line so much on the island, and the Islanders 4th line has been talked about so much by people off the island, being the identity line, that you'd think that when the next, the heir apparent to Cal Clutterbuck showed up, and very appropriately wears 16, so it's just 15 to 16. You just have, we'll just make this guy the new Cal Clutterbuck. In that game, he had 9 hits in 13 shifts. So he played just under, and he scored. So he just comes in and it's like, he reminds me a lot of Clutterbuck when Clutterbuck was first coming around on the island, and you don't often have your eye caught by the way someone like hops over the bench for a line change, but every time I swear every time Gatcomb is swinging his legs over the boards to get out for his shift, I know exactly who it is, because I'm like, oh, that guy is really excited to go play hockey right now. And then he goes and he shows it by trying to staple someone into the end boards, and you got Noah Hannafin being like, what the hell is a Gatcomb? Like, I don't have to worry about this guy. I've never heard of him before, and he's just always around the net. And I can't stress how many people this past week have just been like, why was this guy not up the entire time?
Yeah.
And so I as like you, I hope he's here forever. And just a great 4th liner to watch. And this is he's the type of guy that if the Islanders, let's say, were struggling and the Islanders traded him on trade deadline day, be like one of like a very minor move that he goes for like a 6th round pick to Vegas, let's say. Right. Come playoff time when he gets subbed in for, guys get hurt and Gatcomb finally gets his call, people be like, wow, that guy's awesome. Like this is the Gatcomb game, because that's the type of player he is. He makes an impact in with what he has in his toolkit. So a tip of the cap to Gatcomb for coming back. And the only other thing from this game was it was an incredibly dumb penalty by McLean. And he's had a few of those that have driven us up a wall. He has played better to give him his due since Gatcomb has showed up. And so that's fine. But I had no hope of them killing that penalty off, because I thought that this was the hockey gods getting us back and being like, well, we fell asleep for a second when we let JG Pageau. You guys took a penalty in overtime and JG Pageau won the faceoff, skated down the rink and scored against these guys a couple weeks ago. We can't let that go unpunished. So we're going to have Kyle McLean take a penalty with 3 seconds left. But they kill it off, and they win in the shootout. When was the last time, you asked me off the jump that question about when was the last time they won 2 shootouts in a week with the same guy scoring? When was the last time they had a shootout where they didn't allow a goal?
Right. Seriously. Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember the Islanders having a clean shootout win in a very long time. And,
didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sorokin went 4 for 4. So But yeah, I thought this was a scrappy win, one that, as you said, they probably could have done without the hijinks at the end.
Yeah.
Matthew Schaefer and Ryan Pulock played almost half the game each. They look like a really good fit together. So I mean, this was and of course this blue line has just been much better of late since they split Pelech and Pulock up with Schaefer and Tony D. So I think this was actually just a decent win in a way that it wasn't pretty, but it was like you're gonna need 12 of these in a season at least to make the playoffs, and the Islanders have a few already in their pocket. So I was proud. Not one that as you said, we'll go into the top 10 wins on Fox Sports in the summer when they're re-airing Islander games. But a win nonetheless.
That would be fun. I think they still do that every once in a while.
Do that, yeah. I used to love the FSN ones were just so great because the Rangers would still get a ton of airtime in the summer on those things, and so they'd have like the top Ranger games, and there'd always be a few against the Islanders or something.
Yeah. It was always like the Islanders had like one day.
Yeah,
they would re-air the games, and then every other day was Rangers games.
Yeah,
all the time.
And they had it was like the Islanders. Their number one win this season was against the Thrashers. I'm like, well, you didn't have to choose from many impressive wins with this group.
Yeah, seriously. But no, it was a fun game for the most part because they won. But don't ever stop blowing third period leads, which we're going to get to again in a minute. But the funniest thing about Gatcomb before we move on is that like we were talking about this at the game on Saturday. Nobody knows why he was sent down. Like he was just sent down about a week or so into the season, and without really getting an explanation. Like, did he need some kind of rehabbing? Was he injured? Was he beaten out for a spot by somebody? Who knows? I mean, I'm guessing that they had too many forwards, and he just kind of it was a numbers game, as Garth Snow used to say. But why he was the lowest number, nobody knows. And I'm like I said, I'm glad he's back, and hopefully he's here for the rest of the season. Okay. So that was Tuesday. And then on Thursday, the Islanders won 5-2 over the visiting Anaheim Ducks. Definitely their most complete game of the week, and frankly, one of their most complete games of the entire season so far. This was a joy to watch, frankly, from the beginning. It was a little slow for the Islanders, but then a Mayfield shot goes off the back wall, and Travis Mitchell comes off the bench, and he just hammers home his first NHL goal, makes it 1-0 Islanders. And that is your Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the week. Get vaccinated today. Got to give it to Travis Mitchell because A, it's cool as hell when guys score coming off the bench, and B, he's probably never going to get another chance at a Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the week again. So we got to take advantage, as is the theme of this episode. So there you go. So congratulations, Travis. And then Anders Lee, 2 power play goals in front in his office, so to speak, both on assists from Tony DeAngelo, moves Lee into 5th place all-time on the Islanders' all-time goal scoring list. He is at 296. Clark Gillies is at 304, and Dennis Potvin in 3rd place is at 310. That means Anders Lee this season is within reach of passing both of these guys whose numbers have literally been hanging over the ice that he has called home for his entire career. That is enormous, and please do not forget that as he gets closer and closer to that. But pretty wild. But also getting 2 power play goals in the same period is awesome because this Islanders power play has been pretty bad this season. So great period, 3-0 Islanders. Beckett Seneca, one of the other great rookies this year. We talked about him last week. It's kind of a menace. He kind of goes into the boards with Adam Pelech at one point. Pelech comes up holding his arms, but he seems like he was okay. David Rittich, by the way, started this game, and he was absolutely great in this period. Second period, Duclair takes a penalty, 4-on-4. Henrik Karlsson, no, sorry, is that his name? Is his first name? I forgot. Leo Carlson makes it 3-1 Ducks. And then Horvat, this is really the dark lining of this game. Horvat gets his skate tied up with a defenseman. He ends up basically doing a split and leaving the ice. It looked really bad, but the diagnosis later was that it wasn't as bad as it looked. He's only going to be out week to week. We're going to get back into him in a little bit, but at the time, it looked pretty bad. And after the game, despite the win, you could tell the Islanders were like very concerned about the health of Bo Horvat. But that being said, they played well for the rest of the game. They got good pressure right afterwards. Heineman and Pelech had near misses. Anaheim was buzzing a little bit late, but 3-1 after 2. Troy Terry scores a shorthanded goal, makes it 3-2 Anaheim early in the third period, but then Holmstrom does a power move around Olin Zellweger, makes it 4-2 Islanders, really alleviates the pressure. Great time for that goal. Great goal also. And then Pulock kind of gets a sneaky shot off that goes off the stick of Chris Kreider. And as soon as it makes it 5-2 Islanders, and I texted Arthur Staple, Kreider was always good around the net because that went right off of Chris Kreider's skate and into his own net, which was a lot of fun. Anders Lee had chances at the hat trick at the empty net goal, and so did David Rittich. He took a shot at the empty net goal too. Didn't go, but it's fine. Lee, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. Holmstrom had 3 points. Riddick again was excellent, had a big showy glove save in the third period too. Ville Husso made 32 saves. Islanders 1 for 1 on the PK and 2 for 4 in the power play. Again, you can't ask for more, although the Horvat injury did kind of cloud everything. But really, I mean, when I look back on it, that was one of their most complete games of the year. The Ducks just didn't have it. And, you know, they came in with all the hype in the world and all these young legs and doing all these crazy things for the tough negotiator, Pat Verbeek. And the Islanders just sort of stomped them out and were like, no, not today. And just did what they did. Got a little hairy when Terry scored that shorthanded goal, but otherwise, again, the Islanders took it right back. Holmstrom, beautiful goal, 2 goals in back-to-back games, which is nice to see because people on the internet were kind of riding him a little bit. But great game, great win. And yeah, if I was going to program some Islanders games for MSG Network in the summer, this would definitely be one of them. Yes. But again, fun to beat a team that gets talked about a lot on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, for whatever reason. But they were leading their division too at the time, the Ducks. I don't, that as much as it seems weird, this was a hot team coming in, and the Islanders just were like, no, not today, not here, not now, and just stomped them out. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, they were them and the team that they just beat right before them, the Vegas Golden Knights, are kind of trading the division lead, which going back to that point that they keep beating good teams. I looked up on Hockey Reference right after the Vegas game, might have been after the Ducks game, that the Islanders had the hardest strength of schedule, or the toughest strength of schedule to that date in the entire NHL. And so they were in their 8 games above 500 with that schedule. So really, as we keep saying, very impressive that they're pulling out these wins. And that was the type of win that they went and beat a team. We've seen so many, I would say, the past 3 seasons. So the Lambert Waugh split year. Let's go past 2 seasons, I should say. The Lambert Waugh split. Yeah, let's go to Lane's too. So the full Lane experience, then Lane and Patrick Waugh, and then Waugh's first full year. Let's say the Islanders have won 130 games in those 3 years, whatever it is. I would say 85% of those wins were just the fact that the Islanders were still ahead on the scoreboard when the final horn sounded, right? It wasn't they didn't go out and beat a team.
They were just hanging on by that point.
Yeah. It was just the game happened to end and the Islanders were 1 goal to the good. And this game was a game where they went and just beat the brakes off a team. They beat the Ducks. I was really nervous all day because I was just thinking about Jacob Trouba, who was just a couple of days removed from removing Ryan Leonard from the season, basically. Right. The guy, this same guy we were like, can somebody please do something about Ryan Leonard being a prick out there to Matthew Schaefer? And didn't expect it to be Jacob Trouba, but that's how it played out. So I was very nervous about Trouba trying to Trouba Matthew Schaefer. Very pleased he didn't, but of course, the Islanders had a couple other guys go down during that game. When Pelech went down, it kind of gave me a little PTSD to the Romanov play because of where he went in at the boards. And the one thing that made me feel okay that Pelech was going to be okay was when Adam Pelech gets his annual 30-game injury, he skates right off. He just sprints off the ice. He's like, God, I'm very badly hurt, and I know I am. There's no there's no second guessing himself. But this time he was kind of hanging around by the tunnel and obviously stayed down and was fine. But
not to be glib, but we have definitely seen Adam Pelech skate off the ice holding various body parts over the years, exactly. And it's immediately oh, come on, really?
Yeah. So when he wasn't doing that, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be okay. But yeah, they kind of just wrestled control of that game from the beginning. Barzal was awesome.
Yes.
The Holmstrom goal was sick. Really enjoying the Big Save Dave experience. I was really worried. You were really worried. I think most Islander fans were worried about Big Save Dave, and one of my chief concerns about it was that everybody knew his reputation as being a real cut up, and I thought it was going to be one of those situations where almost like Revo up there in Toronto, where it's okay to be a cut up or to be the guy that plans the parties, but if you're not playing well and you're like dragging the team down on the ice, I don't want to like hear the cute little jokes before, during morning skate or whatever. But when you're winning and you're playing as well as he is, they hit a lot harder. So his act isn't growing tired on me at all. I'm very pleased to have the Big Save Dave lived through a Big Save Dave experience, and especially one where he's playing well. But yeah, I mean, it was on in terms of the actual game, nothing to like be upset about really. And then of course, except for the Horvat injury, which we can talk about, and even that, when he went down, I was like, I would have bet the house on it being like a Duclair from last year, groin off the bone injury. It reminded me of that a lot, but obviously the hockey gods kind of smiled down on us there too, that we dodged a bullet a little bit, that it's only going to be, a few weeks, it sounds like for Horvat, and hopefully that's all he needs. So yeah, even that, like waiting for the other shoe to drop and the shoe doesn't really drop, it just kind of falls in front of you. It's hard not to start having like seriously bonkers thoughts about where the season is going when you watch him go down the way he did and then be like, it's not as bad as it looked.
Yeah. Well, and the other crazy thing about that Horvat injury is that I've only been told, and you have only been told, that the Maple Leafs are the only team that has injuries. Right. It's kind of crazy that another team would suffer an injury like that. It's not like the Islanders have lost 2 guys for the season, but the only team out there dealing with injuries is the Leafs.
Yeah, because never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Anyway, there's your Leafs mention for the episode, I suppose. But yeah, no, great game, a lot of fun, and again, seeing that goal go off of Chris Kreider, they didn't need it, but it was still funny. I'm glad he could enjoy his return to UBS Arena as well. So yeah, good stuff. And yeah, you're right, Rittich was really good. Again, much like the Islanders overall this season, started out, I don't know. We were calling him No Save Dave for a while there, but kind of pulled it together just at the right time. And now, I'm as comfortable with him in that as I would be Sorokin. Obviously, more so with Sorokin, but I'm not. You're not like afraid. Oh shit. This is a Rittich night, that kind of thing. But yeah, good game. And our buddy Sean Cuthbert on Hockey Night New York thought that the Ducks were going to come in and blow the Islanders out. And listen, no judgment. We've done that a million times on this show, but somebody got blown out, so he wasn't totally wrong. But it was funny. He got me worried about it too. So thanks, Sean. But I hope you enjoyed that game as well. So that was a fun one. And then that brings us to Saturday afternoon's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 3rd time they're seeing the Lightning in basically a month. It seemed like a mini sort of playoff series. They won the first one 2-1. They won the second one 2-0, and you knew the Lightning were coming in pretty pissed off. What's funny to me about all 3 of these games is like the Lightning lineup was a little bit different for each one of them. Like there was Hedman. The first one I think had Kucherov, no Hedman, and no Point. Then the second one had Hedman, no Kucherov, no Point, and now we had no Hedman and Kucherov and Point. So it was a little bit different every time, but it's still the Lightning. Like they're not just going to go away easily. But this one, we'll talk about the LaFontaine ceremony in a little bit. This one started out looking like an easy one. The Islanders had 2 easy goals in the first period. It was Jonas Johansson in goal again. I guess they only faced Vasilevsky also one time. Schaefer on the power play makes it look easy very early. I think it was a 4-on-3 too, which is also kind of weird. And then Cal Ritchie, beautiful goal under the bar. We were sitting in that section, that end right there. We didn't know it actually went in. He knew. He was celebrating. So that was a fun one. It's basically 2-on-1 with Duclair. I turned to you at one point. I was like, dude, Duclair could have like 5 points in this period. He was all over the place. He ended up with 2 assists, but he was the best player on the ice by far that whole period. It was actually cool to see. And it looked like, they were going to run the Lightning out of the building. Period 2 was the exact opposite. It was all Tampa Bay. I did not know this until I came home and wrote up my notes for this. But at one point you turned to me and you were like, this is an all-time bad period. Like, they are having an absolutely terrible, horrible, no good period. And it was. And I was like, we're bordering on like playing like assholes territory here. We would cross that line in a little bit. I did not know this. Shots were 17-1 Tampa Bay in that period. It certainly felt like it. I'm not saying that's wrong. Felt like it was probably worse than that, but I did not realize that it was that bad in this period until I went home and was like, wow, was it really? I mean, again, it felt like, did you know that it was, I didn't realize it was 17-1 shots on goal were in favor of Tampa. I don't remember the Islanders having a shot on goal.
Yeah, I think we knew it was bad, and we knew that the power play certainly played an effect in it, but
yes,
they didn't like take advantage of killing off any power plays and getting momentum from it either. But I went out into the concourse to talk about that, and that's what I heard, that the Islanders only had 1 shot in that period. Which was, it looked like that. It looked like they had 1 shot, and it really reminded me of the Lightning during their true prime. Watching them play, whether it be the Islanders or other ones or other teams, you're like, well, you're just not going to touch the puck for a while here, so you just got to hope that they don't get 3. If you can hold them to 2 in a period like that, it's okay. And the Islanders were able to do that, or to keep him to 1 and then another one later. But it's not going to go like Ilya Sorokin was the first star of the week, last week? And I don't even know if we mentioned it, but congrats to Ilya Sorokin. Or, well, I guess it comes out after we record, but anyways, he was the first star of the week. That performance in the second period was as valuable to the Islanders as I think basically anybody's performance on the ice this season, because I think if he's in just normal goalie mode, if he's, I said to you and a couple other people during that game, like, can you imagine not like having Dan Vladar and Sam Urson as your goalies, or deciding that we need to upgrade on Stuart Skinner and training for Tristan Jarry, which we'll get to, obviously. Like having the goalies that the Islanders have had for basically a decade now, since Halak and Greiss stabilized everything. It's a true joy, and you get periods like that where you just want to go down to the ice and shake his hand, say thank you, and then go back to your seat. Be like, yep, thank you for keeping us in the building for another period, because he was spectacular in that period. So yeah, Ilya deserved, has not dipped at all in form from his first start of the week, and that was one of the most electric performances from a goalie in a period that you'll ever see.
Yeah, I was going to say he was the first star of the week this week, and he might be it again.
Right.
So we're going to get to some stats after this game, but anyway, so Darren Radish, like you mentioned, scores this period. They were very lucky to only be down. They'll only be up 2-1 at that point. The Islanders. The third period, it was better on paper. The shots on goal were only 8-6 Tampa, but it didn't feel a whole lot better. Eventually, J.J. Moser off to the side basically had an open net to shoot in, ties the game at 2. Sorokin just didn't really have much of a chance on it. There was some confusion in front. This was where we're getting into sort of like playing like assholes. They just didn't mount any sort of like offensive push. Like even when they got the puck out of their zone, they just didn't do anything with it. It was a curiously officiated game. It's been a few weeks since we've said that. At one point, Barzal basically got a face wash and, got kind of held by the shoulder with some guy in the neutral zone. No call. It was a bunch of non-calls, and it was very, very irritating. They go to overtime. The Islanders had the better chances in overtime, I thought. I think the Lightning maybe had one. But Schaefer and Drouin both had chances at one point. I think the puck just bounced off of Pajot's stick. But yeah, the Schaefer and Drouin had a 2-on-1 at one point. They go to shootout. Of course, the whole place is like, oh, come on, another one of these. Barzal scores, which was great. Then Point ties it for the Lightning, and then Heineman, final shooter, wins it for the Islanders. Place goes absolutely nuts. Second shootout winner of the week for the Heineman Terrace. They got to rename it eventually one of these days. Moments like this are when you realize that you just don't trade a player like Emil Heineman. They've done it. I don't know why a team would do that, but apparently somebody did. And yeah, maybe he'll be the first star of the week this week. We'll see. But anyway, this was Ilya Sorokin's game. 32 saves. He absolutely stole it. 32 sounds low for the way the second period turned out. Jonas Johansson made 15 and was on the losing end of things. They did play like assholes, but at the end of it, they ended up in first place. They sweep the Lightning. That is unbelievable. And just this tweet here from Dmitry Filipovich just is unbelievable. He said the Lightning just put 220 shot attempts, 97 shots on goal, and 64 high danger chances on Ilya Sorokin over the past 11 days. And he gave up 3 goals against in that time. Total. That's crazy. 227 shot attempts, 97 shots on goal, 64 high danger chances is very bad. Let's be honest. But he only gave up 3 goals. And that's all in the span of about 3 weeks. That's absurd.
Yeah, 2 weeks, right? It was 11 days or whatever it is, right? And his dip in form the last 2 seasons was so hard to handle emotionally, was because you almost questioned whether what you saw when he was at his true peak a couple years ago even happened. You're like, didn't I see this guy do all this and make it look easy? And you'd be like, maybe it just wasn't as good. Maybe I'm got my Islander colored glasses on and I'm making it seem bigger than he was. I mean, hell, I'll make Andy Hilbert talk about Andy Hilbert like he's Dino Ciccarelli, right? So it's like I tend to do that with players, but I was pretty damn sure that what I saw from Ilya Sorokin those years was special. And now that you're seeing it again, you're like, I knew it. This guy has been uncanny. There was that time when that part of his career where he had a couple hundred starts in the NHL and 20% of them were shutouts. and he just had an absurd stat line going. And then if you went back to his KHL days, it was even higher than that. And so that's the goalie we're getting again. And when you have a goalie playing like that, I don't think you could stress this point enough. It's not just a goalie playing good. When you have a goalie playing like that, that is a whole other level. There's nobody else on the planet playing like him. The possibilities are endless. And I think that's part of why I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm buckling in, seatbelts on, take me wherever the season's going. I'll do my best not to whinge and whine about it if they lose a couple games in a row, and I'll do my best to hold myself accountable to that. But because when you have a goalie playing like this, it's like having a quarterback in the NFL playing like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady could. It changes everything. And then when you throw in the fact that they've got Schaefer and Barzal, and before he got hurt, Horvat were going, the pieces are all there. They've got the depth. There's a couple things that they need to tweak, but this team really isn't missing anything right now. They're not. They already got the Bulldogs on the fourth line. They've got the scrappy, Swedish guys. They've got the quirky little Russian who sometimes is just a magician on the ice. They've got JG Pageau. Every team is looking for JG Pageau at the trade deadline. Or a JG Pageau, and the Islanders already have JG Pageau. So they have all the stuff that you need somehow. And so that's and most notable of that is they've got the goalie who's just standing on his head and making it look easy.
Yeah.
So Sergei Naumov, whatever's going on there. I want to see what that guy. I don't know what he looks like, and I'm not going to look it up because I just want him to look like a 90s Russian kind of caricature from Usual Suspects or someone, just smoking a cigarette, standing with one leg up against the wall.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm picturing a guy in sunglasses and just smoking a cigarette the whole time.
Yeah, like a track.
Or he's on skates smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. I don't care what he looks like in real life. That's Sergei Naumov to me is that, and he's just cigarettes. There's just cigarette butts all over the practice rink. And then, the staff is just like, Sorokin must have been out late today. Got an extra session in.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I think it was 32 Thoughts. It was like, it wasn't so much that Sorokin didn't like working under Piero Greco. It's just like he took that firing hard and is kind of, focusing again more. But whatever it is, I'm glad it's going on. That being said, please stop giving up high danger chances because it is driving us crazy. I'm glad he's stopping them, but he shouldn't have to stop that many. If you lighten the load a little bit, you probably get a lot more out of this guy. But so far, he has just been the Islanders MVP, him and Schaefer in particular. Barzal really, in this game, this was not a great game for the Islanders, really. There wasn't anybody out there. Even Schaefer was kind of bumbling the puck a little bit. But Barzal was the only guy out there who was really trying to make anything happen. And it was nice to see him score in the shootout. So that was pretty cool because his record in that isn't really great either. But like we said, they all count, and it was 2 points, and that was a huge, huge win. Put the Islanders in first place. They are right now, I guess it doesn't really affect them, but it looks like the Canadians are going to win, so they're probably going to move into the right below the wild card cutoff. The Pittsburgh Penguins have had a very bad weekend. They have blown third period leads to the Sharks. They were up 5-1 on the Sharks, lost 6-5 in overtime, and they were up 3-0 to Utah today and lost 5-4 in overtime. So that keeps them in the final wild card spot. And yeah, the Islanders are in second in the Metro, second in the conference, only 3 points behind the Carolina Hurricanes. The Caps are right behind the Islanders with 40 points. So again, I said it before. If somebody was like, hey, it's going to be the middle of December and the Islanders are going to be in second place in the conference, you'd be like, sign me up. Are they perfect? No, they have things to work on. Some guys could maybe bring a little bit more. Like we said, Duclair had a great game or the great period on Saturday, but they could use a little bit more from him. And what I wanted to say about Bo Horvat before was like, we're going to talk about the upcoming schedule, but if they can survive without Horvat until just past Christmas, their schedule gets lighter both in terms of number of games and opponents. Now, this team has sometimes had trouble with teams below them in the standings, but if they can solve that and get the points where they should, they can be in really good shape. Let's talk very quickly about the other great thing about Saturday, which was the Pat LaFontaine Team Hall of Fame ceremony. It was fantastic. It's on YouTube. Definitely check it out. Jakes McDonald was the master of ceremonies. He introduced the Islanders Hall of Famers that are there. Not everybody could make it, but the ones that were there came out. They all look great. And then LaFontaine came out, made a great speech, was magnanimous as always. His wife couldn't be there, unfortunately, but his kids were there. His grandkids were there. His grandson gave a Let's Go Islanders. And you can see it really meant a lot to him. He's a guy who, again, is just the nicest guy ever. He's been working with his charitable organization, Companions in Courage, forever. He's just a great dude, and you can see this was really meaningful to him. And I know that, if you're an old fan like me, you remember like the contract holdout and stuff, but Dom put it very well on Lighthouse Hockey. He said, once you get Pierre Turgeon back, it lightens things up. Also, like looking at it through an adult lens, 30 years later makes you realize he was right. He should have been paid more than he was getting. And those kinds of things sort of get washed away. But it was great to see. And there's still room up there in that ring for a few more names. So hopefully I can get to another one of these. And as I said to you, this is the third Pat LaFontaine ceremony I've been to at an Islanders game. There was the one where he made the Hockey Hall of Fame, where he came out and made a speech. Then there was like Pat LaFontaine night in 14-15, when it was the last season of the Islanders. They had these different nights. They had Pat LaFontaine night, where I went to that too. And now this. So I'm making it a habit of going to Pat LaFontaine games. And I saw a win at UBS Arena, which is even better. I had my LaFontaine jersey on. There were a lot of LaFontaine jerseys there, which is great. And this guy's just a hero, man. There's a ton of YouTube stuff that they put up there. So take a minute in your lunch break or whatever, sit down and watch it, because if you never saw this guy play, don't know what the big deal is, just watch him for like 2 minutes in one of these videos and you can be like, damn, that guy was like, he was unbelievable. He just did things that almost defy logic and gravity and the laws of physics and things like that. And he's just, if the guy, people like me who saw him play, he was such an incredible, memorable player that this is very, very well deserved. And I was glad to see it. I was glad I was there with you, because we had a great time. Your family was there. It was your dad's birthday. We got to hang with the great Michael Smith. We had a great time there. And if everybody, if people came to see us at the Belmont Hall and I missed you, I apologize. Probably should have organized it a little bit better, but hopefully we'll do something else. So great day, great game, a lot of fun. Great to see the LaFontaine ceremony, and it was an all-around awesome day. And I took the train. It was very painless. It took a while, but as I was walking out, it was snowing. Couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, that was it was like a night out of a Hallmark movie. A little snow in the air. I was the Islanders win, smiles everywhere. There were a lot of LaFontaine jerseys in the crowd. There was only one Pierre Engvall jersey, though.
Who was wearing that? Oh, wait, that was you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I was happy to get the Engvall jersey.
Yes.
I wonder if I was the first person to have an Engvall jersey in UVS Arena this season, because he obviously hasn't played yet. So
I can't believe they won in spite of that, because I thought his mush powers were going to ruin everything for everybody. But
I knew I had a couple jerseys in my hand, and I was really deciding between Palffy, O'Coin, and Engvall at the end. And I said, you know what? I've been going with the conventional, childhood heroes for a while, and they haven't been able to win with me in the building. I'm gonna flip it and go with Pierre, and big win for Pierre. Great performance from Engvall to get it over the line. But it was a lot of fun. I'd missed the first chunk of the ceremony because I was in the concourse hugging and kissing my cousins and uncles, and meeting up with them. And it's been hadn't been together in a setting like that in a while. That's actually not true. We had a family party a month ago where we all saw each other, but it was among a much bigger, less concentrated crowd of people. But and then when we got there for LaFontaine's speech, and I think that was the thing that stuck out to me more than anything, was that you could just read it on people's faces if they're just getting through the speech part. Maybe they're uncomfortable, or they're not soaking it in. That was a human being soaking in the moment. And I was glad to be there for to see that. And I think I put the crowd in a really good mood as well. There were times when it was a library. I was the Nikita Zadorov Memorial Library, but that was just because of the nature of the game. The Islanders had an early power play that didn't go well. The Lightning kind of took control for a little bit, and then the Islanders get the goal from Schaefer, and the party kind of started from there. And I just feel that the momentum, it did feel like you could feel something in the air in the building. So perhaps the momentum for that kind of stuff is building. I would like the game ops to be a little bit more reflective of the New York Islanders and in what the New York Islanders are, rather than just the cookie cutter kind of stuff you see at any at a Charlotte Hornets game. I'm sure the script is pretty similar, but other than that, a very enjoyable night out, and just I saw my brother and my dad again today for my dad's actual birthday, and we were just talking about how it was just such a wonderful night, and a night that, because saw a bunch of my loved ones, and then had a nice dinner afterwards with all of them, and they're just laughing the whole time. That had the Islanders lost that game, I know exactly the mood I would have been in at that table, which was you gotta snap out of it, buddy. You're having a good time. You can't let the Islanders ruin a night like this, which is a once in a year thing. And so I'm glad I didn't have to have that inner monologue with me while I was, eating bratwurst or something. So just a great Long Island night for all of us, and good company.
Yes, for sure. It was a great time. We got to do that again. But your game ops comment reminds me, we cannot forget, before we take our break, there was another celebrity at the game, and it was the one and only Reese Witherspoon. She was there. We were in the building with her. It was very exciting. Again, her boyfriend is one of the minority owners of the team, and it was very weird knowing that Reese Witherspoon is at this game. And I was like, we definitely need to do some sort of list, or maybe an episode of Weird Islanders or whatever, running down the weirdest Islanders celebrities, celebrity Islanders attendees. We know who number one is. It's definitely not Reese Witherspoon, And guys like Macchio and like, the celebrity fans don't really count, but she's definitely one of the bigger names that has ever been to an Islanders game, and probably the biggest name I've seen at an Islanders game. Mick Foley being the biggest one, but again, he's a Long Island guy. He goes all over the place. But yeah, it was pretty wild. They were doing like a thing about like celebrity lookalikes on the screen, and it was a joke. Like they would show a celebrity, and then like they did like Larry David, and they showed like a bald guy basically, and so it was kind of funny. And then they showed Reese Witherspoon, and I'm like, all right, I think I know where this is going, because unless the next person up is a pretty blonde lady, this is going to get really awkward. Or it's Reese Witherspoon, and sure enough, it was Reese Witherspoon. So it was very cool to see. And again, I'm glad she's here. Yeah. I trust her to kind of know a little bit more about what's going on than some of the other celebrities that have been to random Islanders games over the years. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And then she got one of the biggest cheers tonight, because again, at that point, I think they were tied at that point, or just hanging on for dear life, and so she got a pretty good rise out of the crowd.
When you have the Reese Witherspoon going to Islander games because of her connection to the team right now, you don't need to worry about the guy from One Tree Hill and show him on the on the jumbotron, because the pop that guy got during the Flyers game was certainly awkward more than anything. And we've kind of made fun of the team for trotting out these random celebrities from daytime soaps or whatever the hell is on John Ledecky's TiVo at the time. I got no idea where he's like, oh, I got to see if this guy is putting on great performance in Days of Our Lives. I got to see if he wants to come to a game.
Right.
And obviously my algorithm is very Islanders focused. So anytime that there's a random influencer or somebody, I got like a post from some random South Florida real estate person. And
oh yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, why is this? Like this isn't even at UBS Arena.
Yeah.
Like, so when you actually have like Reese Witherspoon and Ralph Macchio, you don't need to worry about the other stuff, because it's much more endearing and less cringy when it's organic. So you're not begging for celebrities to come, because Hillary Duff will fall into your lap or Reese Witherspoon. And it when listening to you talk just then gave me an idea for a sketch, which is that I would love to have been in the room when Reese Witherspoon found out that she might run into Ralph Macchio at Islander games. Like go to the Islander games with my new boyfriend and whatever, and she maybe like just walks past him in the Dime Club or whatever the souped up version of the Dime Club is. She's like, "Is that Ralph Macchio?" And like, yeah, he's a diehard Islander fan. Like, Ralph Macchio, okay. So it's Reese Witherspoon. The Islanders game 1 against the Capitals or Hurricanes or whatever. You're gonna have Reese Witherspoon and Ralph Macchio and Carson Daly all together, being like, "This is funny seeing you guys here."
Yeah, that's also UBS Arena is probably the only spot where like Ralph Macchio is a bigger star than Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah,
she's a big deal. Obviously, she's a huge deal.
Right.
But like here, it's like this is kind of like Ralph Macchio's place.
Yeah, she's like, why are they cheering for Ralph Macchio more than me right now?
So anyway, Reese, again, the invitation to come on the show is always there. Please just email me. I'll let you know the email. Anyway, all right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to look to the next couple of games on the schedule. I'm going to talk about the 2 big trades that went down and laugh at everybody's hopeful misfortune later on. So meet us on the other side. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch, with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spice Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
Yes! Playoff tickets! Just need to click here and... Wait, what? Fake site? Good thing McAfee threw the red flag. That would have been $400 gone.
McAfee blocks risky sites so you don't pay for seats and other things that don't exist. Plans start at just $39.99 for your first year. That's cheaper than parking on game day. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. You're ready to move your business forward, but first, you need to find the right team. Start your search with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It can help you reach qualified candidates fast, ensuring your listing is the first one they see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. See the results for yourself. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
In Walmart's Louisville, time was ticking away. Only a few nights left till the big holiday. But last-minute gifters had no need to worry. Walmart Express Delivery got their gifts in a hurry. From Nintendo to Nespresso and Lego flowers, they could check off their lists in as fast as an hour. All of Louisville, East, West, South, and North could order gifts up until 5 p.m. on December 24th. So this holiday, just do as the Who's do. With gift delivery this fast, they all gasped. From Walmart? Who knew? Subject to availability, terms and fees apply.
Okay, like I said before, we are recording our monthly mailbag for December on Monday night. So if you want to get a question in, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety, sign up for the Country Club tier, and that'll let you ask us a question. But that episode will come out on Tuesday, which is the 16th, not the 17th, which is what I wrote on the Patreon. It's actually the 16th, which is on Tuesday. Okay, also Tuesday the 16th, the Islanders are in Detroit to play the Red Wings for, I guess, the final time this season. Last time they were in Detroit, we all remember, 5-0 win. Let's get another one of those. And then they have a back-to-back set on Friday and Saturday. They are turning back the clock and going back to NHL expansion in 1970. They're playing the Vancouver Canucks on Friday, 7 o'clock at UBS Arena. And then they are in Buffalo on Saturday at 5 p.m. So, again, a little earlier Saturday at 5 in Buffalo, but Friday night versus Vancouver on at UBS Arena. We're going to talk a lot about Vancouver in a minute. I hate to put such a fine point on these things. I always hate when I do this, but I keep doing it. To be blunt, these are 3 winnable games. I mean, they have beaten the Red Wings already. The Canucks just traded their best player, although they won today, so we got to give them credit. They did beat the Devils. They did the Islanders a favor. And then the Sabres are the Sabres, although I think they're winning right now as well. But you look at it on paper, these are 3 games that the Islanders can and should win, Bo Horvat or no Bo Horvat. So I want to see them get some wins here. As nice as this season has been, as fun as this season has been, as great as it is to see the Islanders in second place in the division in the conference, the East is still a bit of a dog pile. So you can't take any of these games for granted, because if they were to lose, 2 of these games, they could go from second to out of the playoffs in a hurry, depending on what else happens. So let's get some wins here. Again, we could start with another 5-0 win in Detroit. Would be a lot of fun. Do any of these games stick out to you? I mean, I know it's a back-to-back Friday, Saturday. That Saturday game in Buffalo is actually, now that I think about it, it's going to be pretty tough because it's less than 24 hours turnaround. But, I'm hoping to get some wins here. And again, Vancouver, again, this is like a weird mojo that the Canucks have when they come to UBS, which is kind of weird, but this team has been different. So hopefully they can get a win here, because that would be huge to pick up. Even if they just got 2 of these wins, that would still be huge. Probably keep them in the spot where they are now, or at least not too far off.
Yeah, exactly. You get, I think that getting 4 out of 6 every week, or whatever, however many, 2 out of 3 is the way you want to go. If you're hell bent on being where the Islanders are and keeping the spot in it, and maybe even pushing Carolina and trying to compete for the division. I still have never seen the Islanders win a division. So
nobody has.
Yeah.
1988 was the last time. So I haven't either. Basically.
It's so funny that you could literally just accidentally win a division here and there, and they haven't done it since 1988. So, hey, they've certainly got a shot at it this year. Just where they're sitting, and as you said, like the way that the East is kind of shaking out. So yeah, that Buffalo game screams like letdown,
right?
But that's the old way of thinking. Like if you're truly a 19-11-3 team pushing up the standings in the Eastern Conference, beating the Avalanche and beating the Stars and beating the Golden Knights and then sweeping the Lightning in 3 games, and then you're a team that can beat the Buffalo Sabres on the second night of a back-to-back. You know,
right.
so
seriously.
I think that the Islanders. I'm hoping that this is. We said this about their last stretch of schedule that looked a little soft. And we were like, well, this is the opportunity where you get the separation, where you give yourself some breathing room in the standings. And as you said, the East is a dog pile still, but the Islanders do have a little bit of breathing room right now in terms of like the playoff race. Like the Bruins are 3 points back, so it's not much, but at least it's more than one game. And if they can make hay this week, that'll stretch, and eventually these teams will start to separate themselves. I mean, the Devils, as we said, have been in free fall, and since Jack Hughes got hurt, and they're dealing with more injuries, which is once again really strange that the Islanders and the Devils are losing players to injuries because. Yeah, I thought that only happened to the Maple Leafs. It's just really weird. I gotta figure out what's going on there.
Yeah,
it's weird that they'd be talked about like that. And then like just looking at what the Penguins have done, you're hoping maybe this is when they start to wobble. They've blown those 2 leads. The Flyers have lost 3 in a row, and they were 5-0 in shootouts. Remember we talked last night? Yeah. They were 5-0 in shootouts. They're 5-2 now. They've lost 2 shootouts since you've said that. So. And that was less than 24 hours ago. So they've, but maybe like the magic runs out on a team like Philadelphia, and we can stretch some more wins together here and put some distance between us and like the annoying natty teams like Pittsburgh and Philly. Like I fully expect the Caps and the Hurricanes to be there, and maybe the Rangers and Devils are one of them. But if we can just swat away the natty teams right now, that'd be great. And I'm choosing to believe that they can do it. So hopefully, hopefully they get out of this week with 4 or 5 points, and we're just continuing to click our heels together.
Yeah, we should also mention again that Detroit game is in Detroit, that Red Wings game. So again, not the easiest thing to go on the road, but again they won there before. So, and I'm sure the Red Wings haven't forgotten it either. But let's get some points here for sure. We're obviously going to talk about them next week, but again, like I said, the schedule gets much lighter here. And so not only is it just 3 games this week, but there's only 2 next week. They play the Devils on the 23rd and then the Rangers 2 days after Christmas. And so if they can, this is what I was saying before, if they can get past that Rangers game without Bo Horvat and still pick up points, he can come back hopefully that week. Actually, they play the Blue Jackets on the 28th there as well, the day after that Rangers game. But like, even if you get past that point, or maybe Horvat comes back for that Blue Jackets game, I think they'll be in pretty good shape. Like, you just don't want to lose ground, lose a bunch of games in a row, and all of a sudden these other teams start creeping up. So you want to maintain your spot, and hopefully they can do that. Again, this week works out, and like you said before, they've played a very hard schedule to this point in the season. The thing is, you just don't want to like drop these games. I mean, they got games against like Chicago and Utah and the Leafs coming up. You don't want to drop these games. You want to win them, even though the opponents may be a little bit lower than you or weaker than you on paper. So nothing is given, but let's take some points here, and this is a good week to do that. Okay, we do have a couple of trades to announce, or at least were already announced in the league this week. Actually, both went down on Friday. And the one that we thought was going to be the big trade that went down that day was the Oilers acquiring a goalie. The problem is that goalie is Tristan Jarry. And I can promise you that no fan base found this deal funnier than us because we have seen this man's work up close and personal. But the Oilers acquired Jarry and Samuel Poulin from the Penguins for goalie Stuart Skinner, defenseman Brett Kulak, and a 2029 second-round pick. Stuart Skinner basically had to go. He was getting blamed for everything under the sun. He's a UFA at the end of the season. So is Kulak. So of course, all these like computer boys were like, "Oh, great work by Dubas getting a second round pick." Sure, okay, great. Because then they can turn around and trade one of these guys if
it's a second round pick in 2029.
2029. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
great.
Dubas.
Sorry, you're right.
Jeez, genius. He's playing 6D chess on us. We just
get a second round pick 4 years from now.
Yeah.
But when this went down, people are like, yeah, Jari, maybe this works. Maybe this, he needs a new start. They had to get rid of Skinner, all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Islanders fans are just basically sharing every goal from the 2019 playoff series against the Penguins, including the Josh Bailey legendary double overtime goal where Jari just basically passed him the puck and he scored. And you can hear a very, very quiet PPG Paints Arena and like one or two guys just yelling, "Motherfucker!" Like you could just hear it in the video. It's the funniest thing ever. But anyway, so good luck with Tristan Jarry. Now he is from Edmonton. Maybe the change of scenery does help him, but they lost today to the Canadians. I'm pretty sure Jarry was in net. So I don't know about this. And Skinner is whatever. I'm not too worried about the Penguins with Skinner or not. But what was your reaction to this trade? I know I was laughing because I'm like, that's who. This is the guy now. Have you actually seen this guy play? Because I'm not sure you have.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, this is just the best. And the way that it's presented, of course, is this is super serious. And the
Yes.
Oilers
have their goalie.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I guess technically, sure.
Yeah, it's Dateline Edmonton. Well, the Oilers finally have their goalie.
Right.
No, they have a goalie, a different goalie.
Right.
They've literally got Stuart Skinner, who's also from Edmonton, just in a different.
That's pretty funny.
There were people who were like looking at his advanced numbers. They're like, yeah, this is a huge upgrade. Like he's playing much better than Skinner has this year, and it really reminded me of the Noah Dobson trade in a little while. I'm like, yeah, but I've watched this guy play. Like I watched him pass the puck to Josh Bailey. I watched him. He had another one of those where he passed it to, who was that in a regular season game a couple of years ago where I watched. I don't even know if he was in goal for the Anaheim goal against in overtime. His last goal before his previous goal. I watched Anaheim beat Tristan Jarry clean on a wrist shot from 80 feet away. Like, and those numbers. They don't really paint those goals into the numbers as much as they should. And I just can't get my mind around how you could be the Oilers and they have been looking for a goaltender since 2006, since Marc-Andre Bergeron hurt Dwayne Rolison in the Stanley Cup final in 2006. Basically. They've been looking for a goalie. They've tried Mike Smith. They've tried Ilya Bryzgalov for a little bit.
That's right.
They went like the tandem. They've tried Cam Talbot. They've like Mikko Koskinen was.
Who was the guy from the Leafs that they signed? Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
Jack
disaster.
Campbell. Yeah, they had the Jack Campbell experience. They've done it all. Like they've already had Tristan Jarry like 4 times, including the guy who they traded for Tristan Jarry.
Right.
So, and when these trades go down, you're like, oh well, that was stupid. But as you said, the Oilers have their goalie is how it's presented, and these people are going to. I mean, poor Tristan Jarry when he gets beat clean by Corey Perry or whoever on the Los Angeles Kings in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Jim Matheson is just waiting for him in his stall with like a branding iron or something. It's going to hit him like a ton of bricks because he couldn't handle Pittsburgh, the pressure in Pittsburgh. He wilted in playoff games. So to go into that incredibly strange environment, good luck to him. Very funny. I love when stuff like this happens that like the rest of the league isn't in on the joke that we are in on.
Right.
And we're just like cracking up and having a good time over here, and everyone's like, why are Islander fans are just sneering at this one for some reason? Oh yeah, no, I'm sneering at this one because I watched Leo Komarov score a big playoff goal against this guy.
Seriously, I watched Kyle Palmieri score 2 play. And like they just vaporized him from space, basically.
Yeah, Kyle Palmieri from a terrible angle on a bouncing puck,
right,
in overtime.
That's what, again, like, I'm not kidding. I was like, has Stan Bowman watched Tristan Jarry play? Because like,
I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. And it'd be one thing if you traded for him to be if the Oilers already had a goalie,
right?
And like they were like, all right, we need like a 1B or a backup.
Yeah.
When you're the Oilers and your entire existence right now is about trying to find a goalie who's good enough to make Connor McDavid win a Stanley Cup, the best player on the planet. We just need you to be the goalie that's good enough to make sure that the best player on the planet can win a Stanley Cup. And then you decide, oh, we'll get Tristan Jarry. It becomes hilarious and really tells you a lot about like where this sport is and how a lot of people, we rag on Eric Tulsky a lot for good reason, I would say. And I would actually have loved to hear him get like a question about Tristan Jarry. Like, oh, why you guys have also been looking for a goalie? Why didn't you get Tristan Jarry? And be like, well, we're in the same division as the Islanders, and so we watch some Islander games against the Penguins.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I mean, they play the Penguins a bunch of times every year too. So.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, no, we've played. Oh, why didn't you trade for Tristan Jarry? Because you guys can't get a goalie. Oh no, we played against him.
Right. That's why. We've done some scouting and by just scoring a lot of goals against him. Cal Pickard, by the way, was the goalie for today's loss. Right. The Oilers lost to the Canadiens. And yeah, no, you're right. And I've seen people be like, if they traded Pickard for Jarry, and then you have Skinner and Jarry, well, now it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense a little bit. Yeah. I mean, they're both kind of very, very similar players, but
2 Tristan Jarrys is better than 1 Tristan Jarry.
Right. Yeah, basically, right.
But 1 Tristan Jarry isn't better than no Tristan Jarrys.
Yeah. Simple math. Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, for a while, that was the talk of the day. Like, I was like, oh, okay. The Oilers got a goalie. He's not the right one, but they got him. and it ends the Stuart Skinner saga, I suppose, for lack of a better term out there. He took a lot of heat for those Stanley Cup finals losses. And, now we're going to move on to this new era. But then around, I guess, somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock, the other bigger trade drops. And this was the end of another saga. Quinn Hughes was traded from the Vancouver Canucks with let me start that again. Quinn Hughes was traded from the Canucks to the Minnesota Wild for a 2026 first-round pick, center Marco Rossi, Asti Spumante, defenseman Zeev Buium, and forward Liam Ogren. If anybody had Minnesota on their sort of Quinn Hughes bingo card list, congratulations. I don't think anybody else really did. Kind of came out of nowhere. And then we started hearing about how, the Wild stepped up and gave the Canucks what they were looking for. They wanted a center. Not everybody had one. The Caps, for example, didn't have one. The Devils really didn't seem to have one. Although we all still kind of assume at this point that Quinn will sign there in a couple of years when he's a free agent. This is a big deal. And Quinn Hughes is an excellent player, even though he always looks like he's on the verge of tears. Even today, he scored his first goal as a Minnesota Wild, which I watched before against the Boston Bruins. He looked like he was very sad about something. I guess that's just how his face works. But what cracks me up is people are like, well, this definitely makes the Wild a championship contender. And I'm like, okay, the Wild have Hughes. They have Kaprizov, obviously. They have Brock Faber, who's very good. They have Matt Boldy, who's very good. And they have this Jesper Wallstedt guy who's been very good. And the other goalie is good, too. Frederick Gustafsson, he's pretty good. They have a pretty good team. But as I've said before on season previews, I will never be a believer in the Minnesota Wild because for the first 25 years of their existence, they have accomplished absolutely nothing. So maybe one day that will change. Maybe it will be this year. I don't know. But until that changes, I am not a believer. I am not on this train. I would have said the same thing about the Florida Panthers 3 years ago. And obviously now I am a believer in them because they changed around the entire franchise's history with, 3 amazing springs. This team, to me, still looks like a team that's going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I have yet to see a Minnesota Wild team that doesn't look like they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. And Quinn Hughes or no Quinn Hughes, I feel like that's going to happen here too. Also, if you're Bill Guerin and you don't sign Quinn Hughes to an extension, you just gave away 3 really good young players that your team may regret losing at some point. But it was fun. I'm glad it's over. I don't know what they're going to talk about out there in Vancouver now that the Quinn Hughes saga is done. I don't know what they're going to talk about on 32 Thoughts starting next week that this saga is done. And I don't know what this means for the Hughes family. And Jack is still out with his finger, and Luke is still here in Jersey. So I don't know, but all I know is that this is another example of why NHL insiders are useless, because they'll talk about the same few teams over and over again, and then all of a sudden the Wild come out of nowhere and snag the guy they're all talking about. So it's much like, oh, maybe the Oilers are going to trade for Bo Horvat. No, he's going to go to the Bruins. They could use him. What about the Capitals? What about the Canadians? No, it's the Islanders who get Bo Horvat. It's the same thing all over again. Same team too. And also, if you're a Canucks captain, my apologies, because you're getting traded, because they've now traded JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, and Bo Horvat in the last number of years. So I was just like driving when this all went down, and I didn't find out about it until after I ate dinner. What did you make of this trade? And I mean, am I crazy? Like, am I just being cynical about the Wild, that I still look at this team as if they're going to lose in the first round? Because I mean, like, the Canucks had Hughes, Pettersson, Miller, Horvat, Demko. They still couldn't really do much. They got to the second round that one time, and that was it.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, does this getting Quinn Hughes make them better than the Dallas Stars or Colorado Avalanche, who are both in their division? So, hey, you're gonna have to beat both of those teams in all likelihood in the playoffs. And then if you do that, you also got to beat Vegas or whoever, Edmonton,
right?
And Tristan Jarry. Yeah, so I'm in agreement there. And the thing, this is another trade that made me laugh wholeheartedly, and as someone who we've given Bill Guerin some shtick on the show, I will give him credit for not having the Wild connected to Quinn Hughes at all throughout this entire saga, which has been ongoing now for almost, it's got to be better part of a year that this Quinn Hughes stuff has been talked about. I guess basically since they traded JT Miller. Because as you said, right, like, well, I don't know what people in Vancouver are going to talk about. Well, like, they went from Horvat, then they went to Pettersson and Miller, and then now that got solved, and then it was Hughes, and now they'll just move on to, I guess, just Pettersson and or Demko, and go from there. But it's all these guys have talked about, and the headlines on Hockey Night in Canada or whatever, that the Devils are stepping up their aggression for Quinn Hughes, and the Flyers believe they have a chance at Hughes, and then the Capitals became a team that people were pointing to, and then the Red Wings, he's got Michigan roots, and not one time did I hear the words Minnesota Wild come out of any of these insiders, despite they would literally go do the rounds on radio and podcasts, and the first question, we got you here, Freed, so we got to ask you about Quinn Hughes and what's the latest. And not once did any of them go, oh, I'm hearing like the Minnesota Wild, they've got all the things that the Canucks are looking for in the package, that, NHL ready prospect, NHL player already in the NHL, first round pick, the classic. And so, yeah, of the Dallas Stars got mentioned. Heck, even the Golden Knights are always in it. And of course, you know that the Carolina Hurricanes, they're not going to let this opportunity pass them by without checking in.
They're always around.
They're always around. Yeah. They're always around. They're always around. Brad, the thing that we know about Brad Treliving is that he calls about everything. He calls everyone about everything. He's not going to let a trade pass him by if the opportunity's there. So, yeah, I think the only two teams that I didn't hear connected to Hughes through this entire situation were the Islanders and the Minnesota Wild, and the Wild get him. So it really knocked it out of the park from the insiders. And they all immediately, instead of just putting their tail in between the legs and be like, I missed that one, they go, the list of players. I can confirm that the following teams were in on Hughes. Carolina to some degree. That was a classic from Pierre. And they were like, no, man, I just know that I know what general managers just texted you saying, hey, make sure you say that we were in on Hughes so my fans aren't mad at me.
Right.
Fitzy. Hey, Fitz. I was there. Yeah, I was there. We just didn't have it wasn't our fault. It was the Minnesota Wild's fault for having better players than we did. So yeah, that's how I looked at it. And he scored tonight in his first game with the Wild. Zeev Williams scored against the Devils in his first game.
That's right.
So very fun start to the winners and losers of this trade, but it's gonna be fun and to hear how when he gets traded to the Devils in whatever 4 or 5 months from now, people are patting Guerin on the back for being aggressive, just like they did with Tulsky. Whereas if it was the New York Islanders who made a deal like that, they'd be like, "What? Lose trade? Like, what? Well, at least I got time to flip Bo Horvat." And you want to see what a lose trade looks like? I could show you one. It happened on Saturday, and it involved the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it involved the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, it was fun couple days, and made even more fun. Like, this stuff would just be agitating, I think, if the Islanders weren't going well. But since the Islanders are going well, it was fun, and it's fun to be able to laugh at this stuff rather than be like, these guys are all pissing me off to no end.
Yeah, no, these were fun trades, and they don't necessarily like affect the Islanders that much. I mean, obviously the Jari won a little bit.
Because I saw on The Athletic, there was their lead story on The Athletic NHL right now, and I'm not making this up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
How does the Quinn Hughes blockbuster impact each NHL team?
That's right.
That is good journalism.
And if you read the Islanders blurb, which I did, it says, not really, basically. It doesn't really affect them at all. I mean, it's nice that he's not in the Metro, but you could say that about the Rangers, Capitals, Hurricanes, basically all these things. So, and obviously the Devils thing is going to loom. But I, part of me wonders, like, obviously I'm not Quinn Hughes, but like, obviously he's from Michigan, but like playing at St. Paul can't be that far. It's closer to Michigan than Vancouver is, right? So, I mean, I wonder if it would be really funny if he just signed a long-term extension there and it just like robbed everybody of this intrigue. Right. And then, but that being said, I would really hate for Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes to leave the Devils and then go sign with the Wild. Because, I mean, again, we've been down there. We've seen that happen before too. So, that was another one too. It's, the Canucks want a center. And, I mean, the Devils do have Nico Hischier, so maybe they would do that. And like, yeah, you're giving up Hischier, but you're also getting Quinn Hughes. And it's like, yeah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. That would be kind of insane. So they didn't do that. But yeah, so fun times. This was a pretty crazy day in the NHL. It's very rare that we get like two kind of huge trades happen. And, fortunately, this is also a rare scenario where you don't have to look at it as Islanders fans and be like, oh, fuck, like this is bad. This is not good for us. This is pretty terrible. That usually will happen around the trade deadline, obviously. But in this case, we can definitely laugh at the Penguins thing, the Penguins trade, and we can just be like, how about that for the Quinn Hughes trade? So good work, everybody. And as always, great work to Kyle Dubas for getting a second-round pick 4 years from now. That's a tidy piece of business as we've ever seen. So there you go. People just love it, man. They love hoarding second-round picks. The Penguins have like 18 second-round picks in the next like 5 years. It's crazy. But that's how you build a winner there, Frege. Anyway, okay. Like Mike said, we're both sort of under the weather, so we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. We did put out an episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, last week with our friend Joe Buono. We love talking to Joe, and we love talking about Matthew Schneider, a guy who we all thought probably should have been an episode of Weird Islanders a long time ago, but that guy was, I promise, better than you remember, if you were old enough to remember him. And if you're not, this dude was great, and he wasn't around that long, which is still kind of crazy. So check that out. It was a really fun episode. And again, we're doing our monthly mailbag this week. So sign up at the Patreon, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Sign up for the Country Club tier and ask us a question. It'll be a lot of fun. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety Podcast are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Shop at VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project, especially in the holiday season. Mike, any final thoughts on the very fun week that was and the potentially productive week that could be coming up?
No, yeah, it's not too much more to add. I'm just in a buzzing mood about the Islanders. They really were we think about the Islanders all the time. That's part of what makes us who we are, and a lot of people listen to this podcast who we are, and it's a lot more enjoyable to sit on the couch and just think about the Islanders and daydream about where they could be going when they're 19, 11, and 3 instead of 16, 14, and 10. And places that they've taken us in recent seasons. So yeah, hopefully it continues, and we can go into the holiday weeks, and people are excited to get Islander stuff in their stockings or whatever, and they're not like, yeah, I love the gift, but I'm just mad at them right now, so I can't even look at it. But so hopefully that's not how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
We get to keep this ride going.
Definitely, they definitely have a chance to let us all have a wonderful and happy holiday season. Which reminds me, happy Hanukkah to all of those who celebrate. Hopefully, the Islanders can light a few candles this week and make the season bright for you as well. We will be back next week after these 3 games to talk about them, and then look forward to the Devils and Rangers games. Until then, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.